Welcome back to the podcast team. This week we have a special condensed recording of a 2-hour workshop I recently ran with a local cycling club based in Regent's Park here in London. The workshop covers 5 key fundamental concepts of bike fitting which I feel every cyclist can benefit from understanding. Once you understand these universal concepts, they will give you a greater clarity on what you're trying to achieve through your bike fit. We applied these principles with some live bike fitting on the day, and as a bonus, you can see some of that fitting here on the video recording. Take some of the methods we cover in the workshop and you can very quickly make some meaningful changes to your bike positions just with an Allen key. If you guys want to see the full unedited 2-hour plus audio recording, let me know and I'll see if I can put it together. But in the meantime, enjoy this video. Today is all about you guys. It's all about me giving you knowledge so that you can make the best decisions about your bike riding. I'm going to try and answer or describe to you some core concepts of bike fitting, which are pretty universal. And if you go for any bike fit, it doesn't have to be with me, it can be with anybody out there. These are some core concepts or principles that they should be addressing or using that to inform their bike fitting, because bike fitting is pretty universal in that sense. If I can give you these kind of 5 core concepts and then also show you some of the principles that we take into our own bike fitting, then you should actually be able to go away today and start using some of these methods straight away. You could literally take what I'm going to show you, go around the park if you've got your Allen key, start messing around with your bike fit and you'll get some pretty good results. But you need this kind of grounding, these kind of core concepts before you can start making these kind of decisions. So 5 key concepts. Bike fitting is actually really, really easy, number 1, okay? Might be surprising to say, but there are only 10 variables on your bike which you can move. So you can move your saddle, you can move your seat post, you can move your cranks, pedals, stem, handlebars, hoods, and also handlebar height as well. So actually it's very achievable to go through all those kind of 10 variables and adjust them to where you need it to be. Number 2 concept, bike fitting is actually very, very complicated. So we have the bike, which is easy to adjust and has limited amount of adjustability. Unfortunately, we have to put a human on top of that bike. Human beings are very complicated. Every one of you is different, but you've had different histories, different experiences, different riding experiences, and all of that informs kind of how your body works on a bike. And at the end of the day, really what we're trying to achieve with the bike fit is getting you to move well. Your bike is a tool to do a job. So the bike is there to help you achieve your riding goals, whatever they may be, whether that's to win a race or ride really far or just go around the park, have some fun with your mates. Individuality is really, really important. So both in your body, but also in kind of what you want to achieve on the bike. So we've got really easy, really difficult. The third one is humans are not evolved to ride bikes. Okay? So all of you guys are evolved to stand up tall and straight and walk around. Now, if you saw someone out on the road who's bent forward like this, stuck their head up, stuck their arms out, started walking around like this, you'd be like, what's going on? You're looking kind of weird. So bike riding is weird. It is not a natural position for you to be in and spend a lot of time in all day long. But we do. We spend an inordinate amount of time on our bikes in this position. Bike riding doesn't come naturally to us. I had a question earlier about bike technique. And technique and skill and teaching your body what is a good position to be in, what is a good posture to be in, is really, really important. So being conscious and being aware of what your body does, really, really important. The next point is that all injuries, all pain, all discomfort on a bike is preventable. Apart from, like, if you crash a bike, then that's pretty traumatic, not a good thing. But everything else is preventable. And if you're experiencing any pain on the bike, then this is a pain or discomfort or something that's actually been brewing for quite a long time. We all love bike riding because it enables us to do way more than we could do on 2 feet. This is why we want to put ourselves into this funny position and stay there for hours, because we can ride hundreds of kilometers if we want to. We can go faster than we could ever do on our own 2 feet. But that efficiency comes at a cost, and that efficiency basically divorces your body from, like, everything else, from the road. You're literally not even touching the floor when you're riding a bike. At the same time, that creates a problem, because if we can't feel what our bodies are doing and there's very little force going through our bodies, then there's very little feedback in terms of what's happening to our bodies. And so we can get away with really poor positions for a long time. And so actually bike fitting, if you can kind of catch all of this early and kind of start building some awareness to kind of how your body is working on the bike, then you can actually produce a lot more longevity and enjoy your sport for many, many years to come. And the final concept, number 5, which is really important, and it is to own your bike fit. Like, realistically, I cannot tell you what to do. Like, only you can tell you what to do. You are the master of your body. You need to understand what your body is doing, and you need to make decisions for yourself about your bike riding and so on. And this comes back to, like, a key principle that I want you to adopt when you go through your cycling journey, and that is to be critical, to have a critical mindset, question everything, especially when you go and work with a practitioner as well. But you know your body better than anybody else. So you need to be able to find the tools and the skills and the mindset to figure things out for yourself. And some of this will be kind of trial and error. Some of this will be, you just kind of hit it straight on the spot. But bike fitting is a practice. It is not just an event that just kind of happens. Just like the rest of your training. You can't just go out and run a marathon tomorrow if you haven't done any training. So, again, key to kind of bike fitting is that it is a practice. You need to own it, and you need to put in the work. Hopefully that's not put you all off. But it's really exciting when you realize that actually, yeah, I can do this. I can show you this. And this is what I want to demonstrate through some of the methodology that I'm going to show you, because actually, going back to point number 1, bike fitting is pretty simple. There's some really easy things that you can do. Bike fitting is not exact as well. Everyone's obsessed about millimeters when they come in for a bike fit. Oh, I need to move this in 1 millimeter, 3 millimeters here. Oh, I'm in pain if I move this 1 millimeter. Typically, we don't want you to have to worry about millimeters. If you stand up at the beginning of the day and you measure yourself, you are probably going to be taller than when you measure yourself when you go to bed at night, simply through gravity. And so our bodies change all the time. And what we want to actually get to is get your body into what we call a window of fit. You may have heard this concept. Bike fitters have talked about it before. But there's a range in which your body can operate where you don't really kind of feel much difference between one position or the next. And that's kind of where we want to get to with your bike fit. There's a range in which your body should be able to operate. So taking all those kind of key concepts, we're going to kind of think about what we're going to do with the bike. So I'm going to get Joe to come and be our model. Okay, so what I'm going to take you through today, I'm going to talk you through how to set your seat height. But this is probably the most common thing that like 80% of cyclists get wrong. All right, so the principle is that we need to make things worse before they get better. if you just kind of stick your saddle height in one position and you ride it and you never change it, your body has no concept of what is good. So what we're going to do, Joe, we are going to start by just lowering your seat all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. But we kind of want to teach your body, what does it feel like when you're really, really low? Number 8. Different things. Okay, so the principle is that we need to experiment. We don't know what's best until we start moving things around and collecting some data on what's happening. So we need some rider feedback, we need some observations. So legs aren't extending very much, but because her legs are all kind of closed up, then the pedal stroke looks a little bit choppy, and her body's already started to compensate by kind of pushing back a little bit and so on. So it's your body's trying to get somewhere where it isn't at the moment. Let's just say we know that this is like way too low. So all we're going to do, slowly raise her seat up in small increments and see what happens. It's really important you can stay in the same gear. The closer we get to your ideal, the easier and smoother, more fluid everything should get. And then we're going to take you beyond that, so where it's too high. So where you're kind of having to reach, you're not in control of that kind of pedal stroke. And then once you hit that point where you're too high, then you can bring it back down again to where it felt good. Okay, let's go up a little bit more. Let's see how high you can go, Joe. So the one thing that we heard from this position here is that Joe's actual cadence has kind of sped up a little bit. Sounds a little bit smoother. So we're still in the same gear, which would suggest that she's able to put out a little bit more power with the same effort. Better than last position? Yeah. Yeah? Okay, still going.
I checked my power and it's gone up by 20.
20 watts?
Yeah.
Woof. There you go. Get your saddle right. Gain 20 watts. All right, let's go up a little bit more. So let's keep going. So as we're going up, what we're looking for is good control through the bottom of the pedal stroke. You want to be able to push all the way through the bottom of the pedal stroke, from the top all the way through the bottom. You want to feel in control on both sides. So one leg may feel a little more in control than the other. Let's go up a little bit more. So we want to find that point where you start to lose control. Like, where is it that you start to feel like you're stretching too much? Okay, so I'm just going to exaggerate it. I'm going to put it up some more.
Goodbye. It's brand new.
Yeah.
This is not fun.
Yeah. So we just went up 10 mil, and the change is quite drastic here compared with the previous position. So quite often you'll hit a tipping point where suddenly like, oh yeah, this is not good. So that's good. So we know this is like too high, like everything's a bit choppy as you're not pedaling as smoothly, you're not pedaling as fast. Yeah. So, but we got to hit this point before we kind of realize, okay, this is your ceiling. This is definitely too high. The previous position was probably just at her limit, which is a centimeter above where you were initially. So actually you weren't far away from where you were. So I'm going to bring it back down. Okay, try that. So compared with the too high position where we were in just now, this probably feels better.
Yeah.
So this is your original seat position.
I preferred the one before when you just...
Okay, so a little bit higher. So you guys were right. So she was riding a little bit low. So you could see from like looking at her leg angle maybe that she was a little bit low. Again, we don't know how high we need to make it until we go through the process and stuff. All right, I think we're going to leave it there with Joe. Thanks, Joe. That was great. So yeah, you were pretty close.
Yay.
But 7 mil high definitely makes you a little bit smoother and so on.
From what we just did, this one is more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So let's do a little bit more seat height stuff. If your saddle height is too high, as in this case here, then that tips all of your body weight kind of forward. If you imagine you're just kind of perched on top of the saddle, then it tips all your body weight forward and you have to brace that body weight somewhere. which Jenny is doing through her arms and shoulders, which are kind of very rounded forward, very protracted. Yeah. But you can see your elbows are completely kind of like locked out, just trying to brace the whole position. So if we look just for signs of saddle height being too high, you kind of point your toes down quite a bit when you pedal. So we're going to go through a similar kind of process and see what happens. We're going to go all the way down. Yeah. All right, try that. Good. So again, classic signs of like being a little bit too low is that you can't extend your leg enough. So you're just using all your quads. Yeah. Yeah. So you're not able to extend your hamstring enough. So that means you're just using all the quads. So that's a clear sign that you're too low. If you stand up for me, Jenny, let's put the seat up. How's that feel, Jenny?
Yeah. It's okay, actually. It could go up a little bit.
Yeah. Just compared with the previous position?
Better.
Yeah. Less pressure on the quads? Yeah.
Less pressure and then less pressure.
Yeah. So immediately pedaling a lot faster. So same gear, but pedaling faster. So you're getting more out of the same position. Okay, let's go up a little bit more. Now with Jenny, I'm probably going to raise the seat up in smaller increments because you've got smaller legs than Joe. Yeah. So proportionally, the amount that that change is going to be a lot. If I put your seat up the same amount, then proportionally the change is going to be a lot greater. Any better or worse than previous position?
Better?
I think this is probably closer to where you need to be, which is good.
Do you think the handlebars are good for me?
Yeah, we'll address that kind of next. But just for illustration, I'm going to put you back to where your original seat height was, just to give you an idea.
Now that feels high.
But isn't it fascinating how it's only until we put your saddle down that you come back to this and you go, oh, that's really high.
Just a small bit.
Yeah. Hey! Yeah. Once you've got that right, then you've got to get everything else right. I think you're probably feeling a bit of pressure on the hands because your handlebars are tilted slightly down. Yeah, so we just need to kind of tilt this up a little bit, and that will probably make things a lot better. Generally speaking, we want this part of the handlebar to be horizontal so that you're not kind of it's giving you a kind of level bit of support, and usually like the hood's pointing up very slightly. Yeah. So hands I find are fairly sensitive because your hands are your hands, like you notice a lot of things. So just like kind of small little changes here and there can make quite a bit of difference. So, and that's just two quick variables. So imagine what can happen if you get all 10 right. You know. If you guys are interested, then we did do a podcast series. So for anyone who doesn't know, we run a podcast called Cycling Demystified. We did a podcast on the 10 pillars of bike fit, the 10 different variables. And if you listen to that in order, then we go through in order or kind of order sequence of what you should be adjusting and how to adjust it. And if you follow that sequence, then you should get to a pretty good fit. Thank you so much for coming along. It's been a real pleasure.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, do leave us a rating or review, as this really helps other riders find our podcast too, and motivates us to keep making more episodes. Thanks for your support, and catch you on the next one.
Suffering from numb hands, tingling toes, and any other persistent discomforts when you ride? These are all signs that your bike fit could be improved. If you're bike fit curious, get in touch with Way or Matt by emailing info@foundation.fit or finding them on Instagram @FDN_bikefit. Finally, for all your bike servicing needs, custom dream bike or hand-built wheels, go to www.frequencycycleworks.com or find me on Instagram @frequencycycleworks. Until next time, keep on spinning.